Thanks for joining me today for another episode of A White Woman in Distress. This podcast is about raising awareness for missing kids, teens, and adults. My goal is to help spread the word and find those who are missing. We need to come together as a community to help find these people. We need to stop ignoring what we see and start looking out for each other. I understand that you want to stay safe, but it's important to speak up when you notice something's wrong. If someone you loved was missing, you would want people to help. People who think, well, this could never happen to me. You really need to understand that it can happen to anyone. Every single day, children, mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, etc., they all go missing. You don't have to put yourself at risk. You can always call in tips anonymously, and then if they ask your name, just tell them that you want to remain anonymous. Our goal should ultimately be to bring everyone home safely, because that's what we would want if our loved one was missing. Everyone deserves to know what happened, and families deserve closure. Sometimes when I do post videos, I will be adding in a few crime scene photos maybe, but this may not be one of them, but this may be one of them. So viewer discretion is advised. This content may discuss violence, sexual assault, and murder, which may be distressing to some. Listener discretion is also advised. Today, we're going to be diving into the haunting and mysterious disappearance of Kenneth Warren Hager, a young boy from Baltimore, Maryland, who vanished without a trace on April 8th, 1947. This case remains unsolved, leaving his family and the community searching for answers for over 7 decades. Kenneth Warren Hager was just 4 years old when he disappeared. He was last seen near his home in the 1600 block of Lansing Avenue in Baltimore, Maryland. On the morning of April 8th, 1947, Kenneth was described as a curious and adventurous child with a love for playing outdoors. Like any child, honestly. His family had recently moved to Lansing Avenue in February of 1947 from the 2100 block of East Chase Street. Despite his young age, Kenneth was familiar with his old neighborhood, and he had even previously wandered back there on occasion. On the morning of April 8th, Kenneth asked his mother for a piece of ice around 10 a.m. She gave it to him, and he went outside to play. About 45 minutes later, his family realized that he was missing. Panic set in as they began searching the immediate area, calling out his name and asking neighbors if they had seen him. The search for Kenneth was immediate and extensive. Neighbors, friends, local authorities joined forces to comb through the neighborhood and the surrounding areas. A possible sighting of Kenneth was reported that afternoon by a streetcar operator at the intersection of Donalk and Eastern Avenues. Several other potential sightings were reported in the area soon after he disappeared, but none were confirmed, and Kenneth was never found. This was not the first time Kenneth had gone missing. 2 years prior to this incident, Kenneth had disappeared and was located by police in downtown Baltimore. When he was found, he had burn marks on his arm, and then he had mentioned that a bad boy had caused them. This previous disappearance added to the anxiety and fear felt by his family and the community. Before they moved to Lansing Avenue in February, Kenneth's family had lived in the 2100 block of East Chase Street. Kenneth was very familiar with the old neighborhood, and he had a habit of wandering back there. His family noted that Kenneth enjoyed car rides, but would only get into a car if he was invited, which raised concerns about potential abductions. And in my head, I'm like, oh, that's not good. Because anyone could have been like, hey, I can give you a ride home. Please get in the car with me. And he would have gone, which is terrifying to think about. In 1962, a distant relative of the Hager family believed she saw Kenneth at a grocery store in Donalk, Maryland. This sighting was never confirmed, and the identity of the man at the store still remains unknown. Over the years, various theories have emerged, including the possibility of Kenneth being abducted by someone he knew, or a stranger who lured him into a vehicle, which was also a possibility if he got invited. Kenneth's disappearance had a profound impact on the Baltimore community. The search efforts continued for years, with various organizations and volunteers joining forces to look for any clues that might lead to Kenneth's whereabouts. The case was covered extensively in local news and media, keeping it in the public eye. With advancements in forensic technology and renewed interest in cold cases, there have been periodic reviews of Kenneth's case. The Baltimore police have urged anyone with any information to come forward, hoping that even the smallest piece of evidence could help them solve this mystery. I really hope that someone does come forward, or even if by looking at the photos that are posted as the cover art or within the video on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, that someone says that they look similar to this person, and because they can do a DNA test, and maybe they are Kenneth, maybe they got abducted, maybe they were kidnapped and someone else raised him and he just forgot that they weren't his real parents. Kenneth's surviving relatives have shared their memories and the enduring pain of not knowing what happened to him. One family member said, "Kenneth was a bright, happy child. We never gave up hope that one day we might find out what happened to him." Retired Detective John Smith, who reviewed Kenneth's case in the 1980s, said, "This case has haunted me for years. Every time we thought we had a lead, it seemed to just go nowhere. But we never stopped looking. Someone out there knows what happened to Kenneth." Several theories have been proposed over the years. Some believe Kenneth may have been taken by someone he knew, possibly an acquaintance or a distant relative. Others speculate that he could have been abducted by a stranger who saw an opportunity. There's also the possibility that Kenneth just wandered off and met with an accident, though no evidence has ever been found to support this. Kenneth Warren Hager's disappearance remains one of Baltimore's most enduring mysteries. Despite extensive search efforts and numerous theories, his case remains unsolved. The hope of finding answers and bringing closure to his family. If you have any information regarding the disappearance of Kenneth Warren Hager, please contact the Baltimore City Police at 443-984-7385 or 410-396-2359. Every tip, no matter how small, could be crucial in solving this case and bringing peace to Kenneth's family. And don't forget, you can always call in to the police station, FBI, or even news outlets, and you can report things anonymously, so you don't have to give your name, you don't have to tell them where you live or any information whatsoever. Just please, if you know something, please say something. Thank you for listening to this episode of A White Woman in Distress. Stay tuned for more updates on this case and other stories. Your support and vigilance can make all the difference. Remember, if you see something, say something and do something.